In a desolate post-apocalyptic world, filled with blood and dust, there's a legend called Mark Local Transky. You were a young aspiring cop. I also had a happy family, but they all vanished after a fateful event. Embracing the extreme pain, Max is moving away from a crumbling civilization and become a lonely highway warrior. In a barren hell, where people kill each other for every drop of gasoline, Max fights not only to survive, but to find a little hope. In the midst of cruel reality, what made Mark a human being? And whether Mark will find salvation, or will be swallowed by the harsh world that you live in. To better understand this issue, let's take a look at Max's journey. Transky by for part first series Meter Max. Max Meter film law set in Australia, in a fictional future, when fuel becomes scarce, law and order are being broken. In the first movie, the psychopathic criminal Knight Freedom, I just killed a police officer who was escorted, and then he took the car and ran away. Behind him, the police cars are chasing Gao. A cop pulls out a shotgun and pulls the trigger, but Raider saw it and stepped on the brakes, caused the shot to miss because of distraction. So the police officer in the driver's seat crashed the car into the signpost. The other police car is very close to the target. Suddenly in front of me a baby appeared, standing in the middle of the road. They have to turn the steering wheel and crashed into a phone booth. 9 Raiders saw the police cut in half. It's very interesting. At this moment, White Raider suddenly saw the distance and there's a yellow Indianer waiting. No other AI driver. That's Mar Joker Tansky. Officers of the patrol force. Raider's expression suddenly became serious. He stopped laughing at the woman sitting next to him and drives straight towards Max. Max sees that, accelerate the front. Your face is still calm. It doesn't seem like stress or flinch. It's only a second before 2 cars will collide. The Raider deer was finally terrified and actively avoided it. Max immediately turned the car chase. I know I can't escape this. Nice Raider burst into tears. Too much attention behind that he doesn't see in front of. There's a tanker that sloped down the road, waiting for the Knight Rider to realize this is too late. He managed to avoid the car, but couldn't avoid the all tank behind it. People and cars explode. But Mark is not happy. I even intend to quit my job. Max's boss's African McAfee had to use a V8 improved interceptor to lure you to stay. You are the best officer you have. VO5, people don't believe in heroes anymore. You want to give back the hero to the people. He warned Max to be careful, because Raider's friends are looking for you. Max just laughed. Then I'll put them in the enemy collection. In a small town, where the coffin of the night radio is kept, a bunch of riders showed up to bid farewell to his companions. This is actually a notorious gang. It's called Jet Rainer, with more than 10 members. The main work is done. These people started messing with people in the area. The guy who lives next door, Joe, is dead, then chained to the back of a tow truck on the road. I was terrified of that barbarism. The couple who were standing nearby rushed into the car and ran away. The gang leader's name is Takwaller. Then he led his men to chase. After just a few minutes, they easily stopped and destroyed the car. Both boys and girls then. They've all been savagely invaded by the Zed Rainers. Max, your friend Jim Goes is in the neighborhood, while patrolling the highway. Nest is still hungry. He jumped in the back of the car, without anyone knowing. This young man, however hard he tried, I still can't have a moment of glory. Fool's assassination failed. He was thrown out of the car by his wives. Do not forget to give according to the words of contempt. Send it to the husband. Brutal mention of Joe. This time, they both caught the boy being violated earlier. He's even more powerful. Enough face points to the most powerful chariots. Before the journey will be many difficulties, FURIOSA has long prepared the way out. She made a deal with a motorcycle gang in exchange for all the fuel to take a safe passage through their territory. Of course, we haven't been to Gastown, so you don't have the fuel you promised. Smell the dark smell and see a lot of cars running for life, motorcycle riders for bombs. Blow up the cliffs to stop Show's army. Then drive the car chase who dares to flip. A war is ignited again. The Kia gang drives very skillfully. They jump over cliffs and keep dropping petrol bombs. Extremely annoying. No less than Pooey. Love USA and Mark show good marksmanship. Hit the shot. Drive one more segment. And soon was far from the over the cliff. Only Joe's car is strong enough to make it through the avalanche. For taking a piece of the wives' dress, Joe agreed to let the hiccups go. That's it. The FURIOSA motorists were followed by the tyrant. He decided to get his property back fast. Nuss immediately asked to jump to the enemy car to score. They saw the wreck of the car. If recognized by the Joe emotion you worship, Nuss believes Velum Holler will welcome you. However, just to where you've become a joke. When he stumbled in front of the Lord, Seven hoped Joe himself close to FURIOSA. Luckily right now Ang Harris, one of the wives, He was quick to take himself. And the belly between the guns, the same poor girl. So the tyrant wouldn't pull the trigger. I thought the win was over. Then suddenly a tragic accident happened while climbing back into the car. L. Harris injured his leg and missed, fell down from the chariot with a gored belly. The bad girl rolled right under Joe's car. Behind is going at high speed, crying out in pain for the loss of her unborn child. Joe decided to pay with this feud. Row inside out. After the death of a Harris, the girls panicked. Someone's going back to Joe to save his life. However, they all know that there's only suffering in the city, and they're going to be seen as birth machines. No more, no less. That's compression of tears. It all keeps moving forward. Their journey was unexpected. Maybe it's because he needs to welcome a new member. That's Nars after a humiliating performance. War Boy is sick. And there's no life left. Kepabo is one of them. Your wife found and comforted you. Her tenderness made the news gradually change. There are no more elephants. Anemia turned out to be good. When the whole team is in need of a skilled mechanic, that one of the perpetrators was Johnny the Voice. It's in the night. The Boar's jam cake as he walked through a wet swamp. Tie the car to a nearby tree and pull. And US saved us all from a howl. Here, we also find Max's fighting ability to be formidable. How to carry a can of gasoline alone into the fog. You beat up a chariot of Fenjos and bring back all the ammunition needed for the battle. Stuck at the scene, get in the car and escape from the dark swamp. They are getting closer to the promised land. In the car, Max, there are still dreams about the child who died. No sleep yet. These obsessions let go of the lonely warrior. Furiosa saw that. And the two had a conversation for the first time. Then out, she was also taken from her hometown by Joel as a child. Max caught Johnny. There are also people I can't protect. The Green Land is where the naval knife is buried with Furiosa. A beautiful place that only looms in memory. Max and Free are the same. They are the ones who seek salvation from obsession. Find the meaning of your existence in the midst of the end. The conversation ended when the car arrived. Furiosa, no matter how many years, it can still be immediately. Recognize your fellow citizens. Goza comforted and brought the girl back. It's PU Valentine's Day. Also known as the Man of Mothers. Rejoice! They all met in a touching moment. However, when asked about Greenland, the faces of the women, it suddenly became sad. That's right, on this earth, there was no place called the Greenland. Beautiful memories that Furiosa always remembers. At the police station, it's actually the swamp that the group went through. The water is poisoned. That made it no longer habitable. And the Valencians now have only a few dozen left, wandering around the desert. They keep the seeds, because the land was no longer nutritious enough to grow. The 7 ultimate hopes. Furiosa fell to the sand and cry out in pain. Gus is looking after Johnny when the filly shows up. The home is lost, and the whole journey was arduous. It's all wasted. Furiosa together 5 girls and us to load up the tissues. The Vovolandi are looking for a new place to live. For being born and dying together. One of the bikes will belong to Max. It's full of food and ammunition. You're free to go anywhere you want. He ordered me to release him. Goodbye, Mark. Separate and continue on your lonely path. However, as soon as I was ready to leave, the child's shadow returned. In a hallucination, I saw it go. Theo Furiosa with the girls. This is a sign that Max has to help these people. Find a better place. Repay the old mistakes. Ra was threatened by the Runer Slippers. That I've always tormented myself. Think for a moment. Max decided to drive, chase Furiosa, and convince her of a crazy— That's right, this plan is crazy. That's when Joel. Almost the entire force was outside. They'll turn around and take his throne. It's got trees, water, and fuel. Then a victim or a witness would come forward to denounce. In other words, it's Greenland. If you keep going forward, I don't know when I'll ever get to a good place. There is no such place on Earth. But if you go back, the destination, though fragile, is very clear. Clear. There's nothing to lose, so get back. This time they decided on a roof battle with Immortal Chow. Whoever wins will get the green paradise. So according to the law, the tyrant is not the same. I just saw Boris's shadow come back. He figured out Max and Furiosa's plan, to play music with the sound of the engine. The final battle officially begins. The old tactic, the Elephant Kings, trying to stop the metal monster of Furiosa, and broke the wheel. They're constantly injecting gasoline into the engine. The police can't keep Johnny in jail. Ignite the machine to accelerate. But Nars doesn't fit. You get on the nose of the car, you heat up Boris's engine. It's a very intense speed race. In the meantime, Vovani clan with Max backed by guns, they're all good fighters. It only takes one pill in exchange for a life. Head block failed. The king boy turns to shoot hooks. Because there's no way to accept this. To slow down the speed of the chariot, Max had to climb out to cut the rope. Nars also has to take care of the overloaded engine, so the whole group was stopped by the Boy Kings. Enough time for the podcast to catch up. These guys are extremely dangerous. They're constantly closing in on each other. They can even swing close enough to catch people. One of the girls, and careless, was taken to Joe's car. Because he saw the Kia girl being tortured so badly, the situation is becoming more and more unfavorable. The Vovolandi people are overwhelmed. The number of sacrifices is not small. Max couldn't manage it either. Meanwhile, Furiosa was hit in the side with a fatal blow. Fortunately, Nak has repaired the engine, and the Boris can accelerate, so we're all moving towards the cliff. They had passed on the way before. When I saw Johnny, he was angry. The problem now is that 1 in 5 girls has been Joe bad, and his car has tremendous horsepower. Can easily overwhelm even Furiosa. Out of the way. The general told Nez to take the wheel so she could jump into Joe's car. Max has a duel with Richtus, the eldest son, the power of the tyrant. Getting into Joe's car wasn't easy. One of the wives pretended to surrender, then pull the Furiosa up. Go in and hit him. Successful braking. Furiosa made Fairy tyrant. He had to pay for everything he did. Put it on the mask and put it on the wheel. Joe was torn from his jaw and died suddenly. Max just hit. Defeat Richtus to save Furiosa from being swept away. Put all the girls to death. The tyrant's chariot. Despite Master Fifey's disapproval, the plan finally worked, but Richtus is still alive. He destroyed the Werrick's engine. That Nars is driving inside. Look at the red flames. This knows its time has come. Just hands and cameraable girl you fall in love with. The only girl in the world. Be gentle with someone like you. Swerving the steering wheel all the way. Johnny was allowed to leave the station before he left. Make the Warian flip over. Stop the road so Furiosa and Max can escape. The last hot boy. It also has a great ending that you've always wanted. Sacrifice yourself for the friends you love. The battle is really over. He was all over me, even close to the door of death. But in the end, Furiosa, Max and the girls have successfully returned to the Citadel. He threatened to take revenge for today's incident. The towel underneath is the body of Amazon Joe. The people cheered. The weak boy kings in the city were terrified. The tyrant's military regime is officially over. From here, female General Furiosa with the girls will share the resources of this land with all. People bring about change for the better. Walk up the ladder towards the top of Furiosa looked around and realized Max was gone. You've joined the crowd, and for the death of the raider deer, to continue the path of a warrior. They looked at each other smiling for the last time. They both found the salvation they wanted, help the weak, and fight for a happy ending. The journey from here closes. It's been more than 36 years. SA warriors roaming the screen. That night while Guz was listening to singing at the nightclub, the Zetlanders were sneaking their hands into your car. The next morning Goose Tong speeding on the highway. Is stuck. It makes people and motorcycles go away. Get up after the fall. Guz called the car carrier to let him take the motorcycle back. On the diameter, your car suddenly broke apart because a heavy object hit it from above. Then brought together and Johnny were ambushed. In a nearby mountain that's been raided, suddenly Gush lost drive. Made the pickup roll and touch, causing the gas tank to puncture. And what's inside is pouring on you. At this time Tokarler and Johnny came from afar. Listen to Tau Kara command, let me ignite you Goose. Johnny panicked, because that's not what he wants. But Tokarler still tried to force Johnny to kill the Insa while struggling. Matches fall into the nearby hay dust. It set the car on fire. Max goes to the hospital and finds Guz unconscious. My whole body was burning black, to the point of no longer recognizing the human form. Max still can't believe it. How many friends did you have before Kia A? And now everything is gone. Something about Guess makes me restless. Sleeping is a nightmare. Not long after, I went to my wife to resign, wearing all manner of advice. But Max was determined to leave. I'm afraid that if you keep running into highway chases, sooner or later, they also become like Z-Rainers. The days after that, Max spent some quiet time with his wife, Jessie, and her baby boy Sport. I decided to take the whole family on vacation at Aunt May's farm. On the way, Max's car has a punctured tire. I had to stop by a car repair shop on the side while Max drives the mechanic back to the tires. Jessie takes Sport to the grocery store to buy ice cream. Unfortunately, the Rainers are also nearby. Jessie is beautiful. They come close to you with bad intentions. T.O. Cather stopped Jessie from getting in the car and asked to lick the cream on her hands. Jessie's strapped and submissive. When the Cather loses his guard, give him a blow on the knee, and then he got in the car and ran away. The Cather of the Cather is that Kundalini through the peeled chain into the city. The car is about to climb, but the shock was so strong that his wrist broke. Just got back to the car repair shop. Jessie is ready to leave. It wasn't long before the Rainers arrived, through the car mechanic. They knew Max and his wife were going north. I thought I got rid of the thugs. And Jessie went to her farm as planned. There's a small beach next to the forest. Jessie invited her husband out there to play. But because Max was busy fixing the car, she went alone. On the way home, Messi feels like there's an AI watching him. It doesn't take long. I knew it was the Red Rainers. And run away from death. I heard my wife say 7 max bars and rushed out to see what was wrong. Messi has not stopped panicking. Ask your aunt to take you home. Go to the forest and check. Sitting on the couch for a while, Messi slowly woke up and then realized Sport is not seen. She ran out of the room to find me. I saw Ronald's slippers waiting. Sport has fallen into their hands. Messi doesn't know what to do. You may appear with rifle in hand. She asked the thugs to put Sport down and lock them in a room. When they can't get out, Jessie and I got in the car and ran away. But the car hasn't been repaired, so I went for a while and the engine died. Meanwhile, the Chitaners broke through the door and drove their bikes out. I may have told Jessie to run away with me. He's got a gun to fight the bad guys. But the Kia didn't pay attention to her. You just keep driving towards your mother, Jessie. When Max heard the sound coming, Sport soon stopped breathing. Jessie was seriously injured. The doctor told her she couldn't live. Max's heart was silent, unable to swallow his hatred. I have decided to pay with blood by forcing the car mechanic. Before Max knew, Tauker is about to send his men. Stealing gasoline from a truck. I stopped the car. On the way they're supposed to go, then quietly wait. Waiting for the riders to show up. Max launched V. 8 of them went straight through their convoy. Johnny lost control and fell to the side of the road. See that the crazy drivers got chase. Max lured them in a bridge and then turned the car upside down and goes straight in. They're holding. The driver didn't react in time. He was thrown off the bridge. He fell out of the car when Johnny came. These guys have all been dealt with by Max. Johnny called this to the Tauker. Tugother and his deputy Papa rushed out to get the car. I found 2 pictures of my Max and his wife. I know I'm being watched. Together and Papa launched like flying on the highway. Max is far away. Suddenly a tanker appeared in front of my eyes. Together and Papa easily slipped sideways. Max had to wait for the car to pass. Go for a while. I caught Johnny passing out on the side of the road. A motorcycle is sitting right next to it. The master left the car to investigate. Then a shot rang out. His knee was shot. The shotgun slipped out of his hand. This is a trap. Together with Papa, they were hiding nearby. Pepper then drove the motorcycle over Max's arm. Make me cry out in pain. Toker told Peppa to stop playing and finish Max off. Peppa didn't listen. Just as he's about to run over you again. Max in time, with a shotgun and shot Pogba fatal shot. The situation is not good, Toker rushed to drive away. Max limped into the V8 and ran after him. Look at Max's expressionless face. Tauker is so scared God just wants to get rid of you. There's a pro shirt in front of you. Max whistles coming. The Tauker could not avoid it in time, so the whole person was cut in half. Seeing this, Max just drove away coldly. At a bend, Max finds Johnny's car. He was stealing the shoes of a dead man with a gun to his head. Johnny quickly said this man was not killed by him. According to Johnny, the bad things are done by the cars. It has nothing to do with him. He also has a personality disorder. It should be tolerated. But all of Johnny's words, they can't move Max. He handcuffed him to a car on the side of the road and put the lighter right where the gas is detected and threw Johnny a saw blade. If you want to live, you will have to cut off your leg in 5 minutes. Max turned his back and left, leaving behind a hysterical Johnny with what's left of a collapsing civilization. Part 2 of the series. It begins with the memory of a man. About worldier Max, legendary highway warrior. In the world where only those who are adaptable and cruel enough can survive, Mark was deprived of his family and his happiness. I carry a deep wound inside me. I live in the wilderness, so people are willing to kill each other for a tank of gas. Max's only friend is a dog. He was trained to protect his V8. Max is being chased by 3 strange cars. The car is running out of gas, forcing you to turn off the booster and slow the car down. 2 of the 3 cars are approaching and prepare to shoot arrows. Max suddenly wins, causing them to shoot the wrong people. Top name, West was shot in the arm and left the race. Max forces the other 2 cars to collide. Take care of the pursuers. I found a trailer in front of me. Max rushed to get the gas. In the distance, West just pulled his arrow out of his arm and watched Max squirm. He was going to move towards Max. Max got up and left. Enemy shotgun with hot weapons. West turned the car away. A moment later, Max comes across a homemade airplane. Lying alone in the open ground, there was a poisonous snake on the plane, ready to attack any approaching AI. Max quickly grabbed the snake's 7 keys and prepared to end it. Suddenly, a man with a crossbow rises from the sandpit behind and point your name at me. Max apparently fell into the trap of the plane owner, just as this guy was about to kill you for gas. Max told him there's an organ in his anyone who doesn't know how to hit, the car will explode. The owner of the plane immediately steps in to dismantle this agency. When he was suddenly attacked by the dog in the car and dropped the crossbow, Max put him on the ground and pulled out the knife. Plane owner pleads for forgiveness. In return, he's going to take Max to a place that contains thousands of gas. Feather gasoline. Max agreed. The plane's owner then took Mark to a highland. From the cliffs, Max sees a fortified camp, equipped with flamethrower, where the pump workers stay and night to fill the gas tank. This camp is being attacked by it. The gang was led by Home On Us. West also belongs to this gang, and the #1 wrongdoer of Home On Us. The two sides haven't done anything yet, but if the fight goes on, the bandits win. Camp commander, send people out. Find a big car to take the gas tank away. 3 cars rush out from the camp and split into 3 directions. One of them runs towards the foot of the cliff, where Max rises in. Soon this car was overtaken by bandits. The man in the car, West used his name to pin his shoulder to the door. The woman was violated by his men, and then killed. When the bandits almost left, Mark went down and tried the boy, and rescued the man who was pinned to the car door. The man thanked you, but Max told me to do it because he wanted gas. The man asked me to take him back to the camp. Max can get as much gas as he wants. Mark accepted the contract. Bad for you? The man who had just been brought home died of blood loss. The contract died with him. Not only that, people in the camp suspected Mark. They are partners of the bandits. So I'm going to keep your car and fire you. Go. At this time, Hemongus pulled troops to recruit. Those who were sent to find the car were caught by him. I saw my people being robbed. A boy from a makeshift camp called the Fair Kid threw the war at them. Accidentally pierced West's lover's name. West is in trouble, and demanded that Hemongus immediately slaughter Hemongus 0. He promised everyone in the camp that they'll let them live if they leave empty-handed. On the other hand, he told West to wait for the gas tank. He will give him revenge. Before leaving, Hemongus gave camp people a day to decide. The camp's inhabitants split into 2 camps. The militant faction led by Commander Popagallo. They are more popular than Robert C. While the 2 sides argue, Max gets to know Peter Kid. That's the boy with the boomerang, and gave him the toy spinning wheel I picked up. The warmongers claim that even if we keep our word, if we obey it, they will also have to live by stealing. Not only that, this gas is the only thing they can bring. The Promised Land. A place where Chan mixes the sun away from the world of chaos. Rebellion outside Kia. The owner said, if they keep fighting, they get weaker every day, while the bandits grow stronger. At the moment, no side can convince any side. Max soon said that, I know a place with a big trailer. Let them run away with gasoline. Max can help them get it back. But in exchange, they have to pay you back, as well as giving you all the gas you can take. The campers have nothing to lose. Should quickly agree. Max carries 4 cans of gasoline leaving the camp. As you pass by where the bandits are stationed, you suddenly slipped. Make the can of gasoline spook one. Lucky Fair Kid in the distance, fake vault voice true. So the bandits have no doubt. Max then went to the owner of the plane. Let him take me to the trailer. The plane knows now. The shotgun Max used to intimidate himself without bullets. They feel they can be a great team. He offered to accompany Max. The plane's owner then flew the Zero-copter. Go back to camp with Max. I saw Max driving the tractor back. The Homongus huddled together to attack. Let me get close to the camp. The Max is heavy and heavy, so the cars in front of us are all threw an arrow into a tractor tire. The plane hurriedly dropped the poisonous snake. He lost control and shot the wrong way. They know they can't stop Max. West O for other robbers. As he drove into the camp, he joined Theo to open the camp gate from the inside. Except for West. All 4 Kia were killed by the camp residents. West abandoned the plan and escaped. There is a freight car. The villagers were planning to leave at night. Max is a great driver. Pagagolo wants you to join them, and in charge of the tanker. However, Max refused, and say you've got everything you want. Mark has suffered a great loss. That's how you were treated. Popagolo told me. Everyone here has suffered. But just be alive. They still have to live for the soul. Max wants to leave. Popagolo doesn't hold back. Peter Kid expressed his will follow me, but was also chastised by Max, the owner of the plane. He was struck by lightning in love with a girl in the camp. So I decided to move forward with the people here. Max drove out of the camp in the dark west, despite Hemigus' orders, and pulled the chaser. Max tried to get through, but West's car is equipped with a booster. Should run faster than you? West then used a plated tube to smash through the front glass in Max's face. The V8 lost control and tumbled down a ditch. West sent his men down, stole gas, and caught Max alive. But when they get down there, Mark managed to get out of the car and hide behind a rock, trying to protect the car. So my dog was killed by bandits. As soon as the bandits hit the gas tank, the body in the car was detonated, causing the car to explode. Max also died in the fire. West angrily led people away. Look at the smoke in the distance. The plane can guess everything, so he drove the Jerrycopter to pick Max up. Max was bandaged and treated by the campers. When I wake up, I see them talking about how to escape. Papagallo said he'll drive the tractor to distract the bandits, to help the rest escape. If the sun goes down and they don't have to wait until they get to the rendezvous point. Right now, Mark showed up and asked to drive the tractor, even though the injury is full. But you're still the best driver they have. Hesitated for a while. Agagolo accepted Mark's offer and gave him a bag of shotguns to protect himself. However, he and some other volunteers. I will follow you. As soon as Max starts the engine, Fred Kid climbed into the back of the car to accompany him. The car just left the gate. A bunch of Hemongas have attacked again. Waiting for them to go away, other residents began to leave the camp. Some robbers found out about this and went back to the camp to steal the leftovers. However, the residents of the camp soon set up the agency, blow up the base, so that Hemongas doesn't get a drop of their oil. After the camp was destroyed, the tractor chase became more and more violent. The plane put the gas bomber company on the chase and destroyed some cars. But the Humongas are both crowded and aggressive. It's equipped with a catapult in the car. So Mark's faction soon suffered heavy casualties. Even Pagagalo hit BA nails of Hemongas that died. Hemongas trying to launch BA at Max. The plane's owner dropped a petrol bomb, make him stop the car. But because I fly so close, so his coupler trailer was shot down, too. Right now, West and 3 other robbers climbed into the trailer. Max struggled with his liver, but only killed 2, and West was still wounded. West then jumped to the roof of the cockpit and used a flea to smash the front glass. Max used the brakes again. West fell out of the car because a rocket-propelled motorcycle caught up, so Max turned around to dodge it. I think West is dead. I asked Fairkid to take the bullet out of the hood to deal with the rest of the bandits. I can't believe West suddenly came up from below and grabbed Peter Kid's hand. Max had to grab his leg so the boy doesn't fall out. All 3 fell into the fray. At this time, the car of Hemigus appeared. I didn't know Max would turn the car around, so he activated the booster for his car. Make it soar like flying. When Hemigus realized it wasn't right, he didn't have time. His car collides directly with Max's car and shattered into 100 pieces. He and West died. Not entirely. V8 touch also causes the tractor to flip to the side. Only now did Hemigus's men know what's in the car is not gasoline. It's all sand. If you lose your leader, you have nothing to gain. So they left in droves. The war is over. Max takes Peter Kid with him out of the overturned car. At this time, the pilot of the Zero crashed. Then Ra is still alive. The owner of the plane looks. Max couldn't help but smile and film host plane. Become the new commander of the camp. Together they reach the promised land, just as Pogagalo ever wished. Many years later, Peter Kid grows up and becomes the next commander. Now we know. That's what I heard at the beginning of the movie. That's the boy's voice in old age. Under the guidance of Peter Kid, the people of the camp has grown into a powerful tribe, called the Great Northern Tribe. As for Max, you've decided not to go with everyone and continue my lonely journey. Obviously, the brave warrior still had no way. Let go of the pain of the past. Be a part of Beyond Thunderdome series. It takes place about 15 years after the events of Part 2. The film opens with the master moving across the desert. He was suddenly attacked by a pair of hijackers, stole both the car and the camel. Tracked down the bandits. I found a post-apocalyptic town. It's called Parrot House. This place was established so that people can exchange and trade with each other. The boss wants to go inside to get his stuff, but because there are no items to trade, should be rejected. Let's see it. He used force against the manager. Let me go in there for an hour. Impressed by Max's fighting skills, the manager said, maybe you really have something to exchange. He asked Mark, use a working day for yourself in exchange for what was lost. Mark accepted the contract. The manager then took Max to see NTNT, the man who built Paratau and ruled it. NTNTT is not long. Let the guards check Max's body directly. Max didn't make her 7 either. In less than a minute you beat them all. Satisfied with what was witnessed then, tell Max why she needs you. Date's right under the Paratau. There's a big complex called Underworld. is dedicated to raising pigs, because all the electricity in this town, it all comes from methane, obtained from pig manure. Under HUA is run by Master, an extremely intelligent dwarf, and also the only one. They know how to convert methane into energy, taking advantage of the town's power supply. Consecutive Master provocation. Power of Anti-Ant and Veritao made her angry many times, with the Master's weak body. It shouldn't be that hard to control. Next to the Master, there's always a guard Paster, a tall man with unmatched power. ANTINTT wants Max to destroy the poster, to force the Master to obey. In exchange, you will get your revenge by animals and fuel. NTNT also emphasizes that the agreement between them needs to be kept private. No one else knows Max is working for her. After agreeing to NTNGT's conditions, Max is a pig manure helper to access Paster. Find out his weakness. Here I met Pixeler. Forced labor for life under an world. For killing a pig to feed the children in the house. Coincidentally, the car was stolen from Max's hands. It has fallen into the Master's hands. Max is the owner of the car. In the process, the Master then forced him to remove the explosive organ underneath. Max accidentally triggers the siren. Makes Blacker Huck his head rolling. I suddenly realized his weakness. It's being sensitive to loud screeching. Anti asks Max to kill the poster. In a fair fight. According to Buttertao's law, once there's a dispute in town, the two sides will resolve that conflict. In the Thunder Arena Dom, but in Thunder Dom, there's only one rule. 2 people in, but only 1 out. No arbitration, no appeals, no pardon. This is the least annoying way to remove a poster. Mark aimed at the Master. Parade poster on new car that reclaimed the car. Master is angry and the poster broke his neck. Just waiting for the NTNT to pull a gun. If you want to kill Max, you have to follow the rules. The Master asks for a poster to fight him in Thanos' room, without even knowing that I had been hit. If you only fight fairly, Max is not Paster's opponent. But you've got a whistle in you. And when the whistle goes off, Paster immediately lost all power of resistance. Thanks to that, Max could easily blow away his helmet with a hammer. Just as Max is about to deliver his final blow, I saw Paster's face. The big bodyguard. It's just the mind of a child. When Potter was in danger, the Master rushed into the arena to spare his life. I watched Max hesitate. The Anti-Angeli kept urging you to kill the killer, but Max told them that that's not in the deal. Listen to the 2 words agreement. The Master understood everything and was angry. They said they're not going to power the town anymore. I want to continue using Master. There's only one way to force NTNT. He threw an arrow at the poster and killed him. There is no Paster protection. Master is easily attacked by NT. Anti when humiliating, they are forced to serve them as slaves. Because Max broke his contract with Anti. In Peridot, breaking a contract is a felony. Max had to be punished. You're tied up, put on the back of a horse to carry it through the desert. While the horse died of thirst and exhaustion. Max just got out of it. But because of the lack of water, we didn't get very far. You passed out, in a coma. I lost a little girl named Savina, and returned to a hidden oasis in the desert. This is the home of the Twice Lining tribe. It's all children and teenagers. Years before the nuclear disaster broke out. Captain Walker, we've gathered some people on a plane to take refuge. But because of some incident, that the plane crashed near this oasis, the survivors are meant to settle here. But through time, they missed the civilization in the city. One day Captain Walker decided, bring in 20 adult refugees. Go in search of other survivors. The kids in the lost tribe are the descendants of the refugees of the past, left in the oasis. They still pass on Walker's promise to each other that one day there, he will take them back to the land of the future. Because Max looks a lot like the captain of the year, so the kids got me wrong. Walker and show that he returned to fulfill the promise. But Max still has to let them know, I'm not Walker. In the land of the future we're always looking for. Soon it no longer exists. Max tells the kids to forget their dreams and anti-oasis settlements. However, some of them, led by Savina, don't believe what you say, and would rather risk. I also want to go out in search of civilization. Max tried to stop these kids. I don't mind tying them up. But in the end, the kids still escape while you sleep. The Sevenus will be in danger, so Max took Theo and the other 3 kids. When they find their place, the 17 are encountering quicksand, and try to hold on to each other so they don't get swallowed up. Mark rushed to the rescue, but one of them is still unlucky. They're very close now. Buteri, no. The Sevenus will not give up their search for civilization. Max searched this out an idea. I'm going to rescue the Master. Because of this person, we can help them reimagine the land of the future, like a child's dream. Through the air vent, they all managed to sneak into Android. The youngest was sent to the Pixeler, so when Max lures the guards to chase him, he'll sneak the Master out of the cage, not glad to have solved it. The guards, The whole group saw NTNT's troops appear, so hurried to steal the train to escape. While leaving, the train destroyed the entire factory. Energy metabolism caused Peridot to fall into chaos, and he ordered his troops to capture the master alive and kill the rest. A grueling chase takes place. Max's side temporarily cut off the tail to be pursued, then meet a dead end. Coincidentally, his son, the hijacker at the beginning of the movie, also appears here to steal. Shallow. I saw the NT entity in the distance. My son ran back to the grave. Max chasing. He caught the man who had robbed his car and his camera, leading to annoyances. He later knew he had a plane. He threatened the guy with them and ran away. Because the plane was overloaded, it couldn't take off. Max threw everything down, but now the plane's headed for the cliff. If you want to fly, you have to turn around. But because the anti-Angels army blocked the way back, there's not enough flight path to take off. To help the crew escape, Max decided to sacrifice himself. You're driving a stolen car. Is pierced straight towards the pursuer. Thanks to Max clearing the way, the plane successfully took off, waiting for everyone to get out of danger. Towards Max, he's stuck in the ring and had to face the fury of the NT alone. ITT surprises NTNT spare life for Max, partly out of respect for your courage, partly because I realize they're very similar. And movie. The Seveners have reached the ruined city of Sid and founded a new tribe on the ruins. Finding what was lost is not easy, and no one knows where this road is going. But they never regretted their choice to remember those who found and saved them, members of the tribe who lit up the city, in the hope that one day, Max and lost people like you, I will find my way back. Years after the events of Part 3, at an unspecified time, I see Max again. This time it was played by a new face. After the nuclear war, the Earth had nothing but an endless desert, feed, water, and gasoline. They have since become the most valuable assets. Planet, still have in mind the obsession of a child that you couldn't save. Max realized, I am a fugitive from the dead and the living. Death is always in my dreams. And the living, they're the bloodthirsty elephant kings who are chasing us. The movie begins, and immediately, taking the audience into these crazy highway wars, overwhelmed in number. Max's car, all the spears with dynamite and overturned. From here you are bound and sent back, the stronghold of a notorious tyrant. It's called Immortan Joe, or Joe the Immortals. He's the richest man in the desert, at the top of the steep Rocky Mountains. Joe has everything in his hands. He pumps water from deep in the ground. It's called Aquacola, and give drops to the thirsty dead below. It's a privilege for everyone to worship. He caught the women, consider them to be laying machines and abundant sources of milk. John owns the mountains, covered in the green of the trees, to own the chariots filled with fresh gasoline. No wonder he is the king of this land. Under the school, Joe is the suicide squad with the boy kings who captured Max. They're thin, they're sick, but they're desperate. Live to ride and die on chariots. The boy king worships battle. Sacrifice is a sacred ritual to be able to enter the VA Hyla Hall and become immortal. Just like that, this brutal kingdom runs smoothly TRU. Until one day, ACOG deviates from the track and drag them all into this crazy highway race. That death is FURIOSA, famous female general under Buffalo Eggs. She was sent to Costao, or Gasoline Town, to bring back fuel to the Citadel. Starting with a massive whirl with the escort team, Lord Joe was fooled. The blood box wasn't on its way to Gastown. FURIOSA makes her own escort surprise when she suddenly turns around and heads east from the Observer's Castle. Tell Joe about the General's 7-way routine. Guess there's something wrong. Joe rushed to the basement, where he kept his most important possessions. These are the 5 wives. Beautiful day there. We'll give birth to him, the future lords of this desert. But when we got there, Joe didn't catch their breath. Ra FURIOSA has been with the girls for a long time. Planned to flee from the tyrant's hand. They're going to a place together. It's called the Cream Pace. The green land used to be the home of FURIOSA. Rumored that there are lush trees. Crazy. Joe mobilized almost his entire army to get the girls back. Here we go to Nars. A sick war boy. He needed a blood transfusion and couldn't have gone to war. Max's purpose when he was arrested is also to be a bag of blood for these skinny warriors. However, because of the desire for glory, Nars has defied his condition. Tie the blood bag in front of the chariot. The war boy has just entered the battlefield. The music broke out and the chase began. For not going far, FURIOSA was quickly caught up. That's not to mention, you've gone into the territory of the icebergs. These guys wrap spikes around the body of the car, so there's a chaotic battle going on. War boys use everything. to make Furiosa's car stop. And the eagles didn't just keep coming. The two sides keep lighting up the dry desert, with firecrackers exploding. Here we also see the madness of the Boy Kings, about to die in battle. They'll spray white chromium all over their mouths, then shout out loud for all to see, and then create your own epic ending. Dancer Joe, no matter what, his army can't either make the Iron Monster of Furiosa stop the Barisco drive. It's one of the most powerful vehicles. And Furiosa is also the best female jet. At this moment, the chaos was interrupted by a giant sandstorm, so this is a chance to cut it in half. Furiosa pressed got straight into the center of the storm. But you don't know that. There's still a stubborn car. That's Nars. Hot Air with Max reluctantly forced also Gallop got straight into the dark sand. Nars were filling up the car and tried to fly into Furiosa like a suicide bomb. Max was able to stop, and the car was crushed in the storm. I woke up and Mark tried to escape. But I realized the blood transfusion chain, still tied to the hand. Man is struggling. I saw a shadow in the distance. Turns out that's Furiosa. Boris is also stopping to remove sand from the engine. Here they meet. I can see one of them is wearing a mask. No blame. Why is the tyrant so eager to chase after you? After a pretty intense fight, and almost got killed by Furiosa, Max managed to get in the car and drive straight away. I had nothing to do with Joe's family. Black One Piece. This Boris was installed by Furiosa with its own operating system. Only you know, it's so unwelcome. Mark had to put them all in the car. Let's continue our journey to the Green Land.